Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, your host for today's show, and I'm joined by Basil,
Hello.
aka David. How are you, Dave?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So let's go straight into it. We're going to be playing Burnley tomorrow. They're always a tricky customer, aren't they, Burnley?
They are. I mean, you know what you're going to get from Burnley, don't you? It's they're quite consistent. I mean, they don't often perform, to a high level, but they're never really a low level. You always know what you're going to get, which is usually a rigid 4-4-2. Players who work hard don't necessarily have a lot of quality, but manage to put some decent results together and don't usually look that threatened by relegation each year. So, yeah, you know what you're going to get from them.
Okay, should we go straight into the team news?
The team news from Everton's perspective.
Yeah, Decore out for 10 weeks. That's a massive blow, isn't it?
Gutted. Yeah. That's our legs in midfield. But we have got Allen and we have got Davies, who've both shown they can be good midfielders for us in this season. So, we've got options there. Gomez as well, if he can actually play well for once, hopefully.
Do you
He's
think
been
the
so
aspirations
inconsistent.
and targets change now with that injury?
With Decore, well, I think it's a big blow, particularly for next week when we play City in the Cup. I think his legs in there protecting, the lead and getting us up the pitch when we get possession, that's going to be a big miss. But for Burnley, we should have enough quality to beat them. We have got, a decent squad. If we play well, we should beat them. But how many times have we said that about Everton this year? And then we've been shambolic. So. But I'm excited for the game, so let's see what we can put together. We are a bit thin on the ground with the injuries, aren't we?
Do you think this could be a potential banana skin then?
Every time we play at home or against one of the bottom 10 sides, it's always a banana skin.
Yeah.
But then every game is, isn't it? Because it's just whether Everton are up for it. If we're up for it, we've shown we can beat anyone this season. So, let's hope the mentality's there, which, it should be.
Talking about the team news, and obviously Decore's injury is a massive blow, 10 weeks out potentially with a foot injury. It was something we were told about at the start of the week. It was coming out of Finch Farm. Obviously, that's a devastating injury for him, and he's such an important player. But another opportunity perhaps for Tom Davies, who's one of three players, including Seamus Coleman and Yerry Mina, who will be available. In terms of bringing some of these players back from injury, would you mix things up and bring someone like Seamus Coleman and Tom Davies in for this game and freshen things up?
I would. I'd give Coleman a game, certainly, because obviously he's been out, so he should be rested and he should be ready to play. We need something going down the right in terms of an attacking presence, and we don't really have a winger who's an out-and-out winger either, so whoever plays with Coleman, if he starts at right back, then they're likely to drift inside and leave space for Coleman. So his presence in this sort of game, getting men up the pitch and getting crosses in, will be really important. As for Mina, I don't know what you think about Mina coming back. Does he come straight in the team for you? But he Burnley a very physical side, so
I'd play him.
Bear it in mind.
Mind you, I haven't put him in the starting 11, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Actually, when you think more into it, probably would make sense to bring Mina back if he's fit, just to try and combat them, because they're going to be playing for set pieces a lot, Burnley.
Yeah, and we've missed his aerial presence, haven't we, in recent weeks, with some of the balls into the box. But especially against the Burnley side who like to get crosses in, who like to play on set pieces, he's going to be a big asset. If he's fit enough to start the game and to play 90 minutes, then I'd play him.
So some more team news. Gylfi Sigurdsson's a doubt. He wasn't training, and we watched the training video in midweek. He wasn't training with them. And James Rodriguez is still out. But I was told, and also you can watch on the video, the press conference, he hasn't got an injury. He's not quite there. And they're resting him just to get him up to speed rather than keep playing him at 70%. Do you think that's the right thing to do, or do you think we should be playing him in a game like this?
It's really interesting, isn't it, what they're saying about he's not really fit, but he seems like he's been playing with niggles for the whole season, especially since after that first international break. And I don't know, Carlo's decided that with his backroom staff, they're going to leave him out till he's fit. So, we might see him in a couple of weeks, or it could be, a month or so.
Surely
So,
he's a good option to have on the bench, though, for 20 minutes if needed, when we've got kids making up the numbers.
yeah, I don't really understand why he can't be involved in some capacity. I mean, he is available. He's just got a niggle. He might be suffering a bit while he's playing, but if we need a player dying for some creativity in this sort of game where they're penned in at 4-4-2, camped on the edge of their box, playing a narrow formation, and we can't break them down, then yeah, it's a big miss. But we're going to have to find solutions for it.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of the Burnley team news, we expect them to retain the same 4-4-2 they've been playing all season, but their left back Taylor is going to be out, and he's a key part of their setup. Robbie Brady's got an Achilles injury, which is going to be assessed, and Ashley Barnes is out. So looking back at the team, they played against Leicester, Loughton, Tarkovsky, me, Taylor. Obviously, Taylor's not going to be available. Pope in goal, Brownhill, Westwood, Cork, McNeil, Vidra and Wood. So it's a flat 4-4-2. They've been drawing a lot of games recently, and they have been struggling this season, but they found a way to get at least something from the games.
Yeah, they have. It's surprising, really, how many points they've picked up recently. I mean, they've only been really picking up draws, but they are grinding out the results against like Leicester and Arsenal. So they are picking up points. We can't underestimate them.
No, we won't. I'm sure not. I'm just looking at some of their recent results. A draw against Leicester, that's a decent result, isn't it? And then they drew against Arsenal. So they're the draw specialists.
They are.
And I think they'll come and try and frustrate us and nick a point and play for a set piece, really.
Well, it's interesting, really, if we look at it in the perspective of how they're going to set up and how we're going to set up. You'd think, in an Everton perspective, you'd think Burnley are going to come, they're going to sit deep, they're going to try and soak up pressure, and they're going to play for set pieces. But then I'm thinking, look what Newcastle did to us, Fulham. They all tried to come at us, really. They come to Goodison and they're not afraid, and they press us, and they really stop us from playing out at all. And once you get into that rhythm 10 minutes in, Everton aren't going to show up. So I don't know whether they'll try and play it a bit more of a risky game. Yeah.
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll set their stall out with the low block and try and play for a set piece. But they have got a threat. I think McNeil's a good player on the left. He's got pace and a bit of quality and a good cross. And I think that's exactly what we could do with really someone who can cross the ball into Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, but you've got what's going to be the best method of us scoring in this game. Is it going to be off a cross? Because you look at Tarkovsky and Ben Mee, and you just think, well, they can head anything away, really. They're always in a decent position to clear. So really, how are we going to combat that really solid back line?
And that's probably why having Sigurdsson, he's a doubt, having Sigurdsson out and James Rodriguez out is a massive blow, really, because I think we would need those types of players to break Burnley down. Whereas if we just start crossing it, they can head it away. And I think in the other games, we should have been crossing it. Maybe in this, we need some of our best technical players. But should we have a look at the teams that we've come up with?
Yeah, bring them up.
Okay. We'll go with the 4-3-3 first. I'm just going to shift slightly over to this side so you can see it clearly and remove the just the limitations of the software, unfortunately. We've gone for a 4-3-3. The reason I've gone with this, I think Coleman's going to play. He hinted Coleman's going to come back into the team. And what that'll allow us to do is provide some more width from fullback. And then you've got your two defensive orientated players in the midfield who will provide that solidity when the fullbacks bomb forward. And Gomez, obviously, I don't think he's playing great, but we haven't really got much other choice in there. And we're going to give Josh King a go up front. And that's a close, tight three. And I think that probably would be the way to score against Burnley, is just to kind of get men in the box and make sure, you're outnumbering them in there. Because I think if we just stick one striker or even two and they place everyone behind the ball, it's going to be difficult to break them down. So gone with the three up front. Time to give Josh King a go. Fullbacks bombing forward, cross the ball in. Players in midfield to win the second balls. I think this could be a good way. Maybe the only change from that is Mina for Godfrey, but you can't really leave Godfrey out. But then again, it might be time to give him a rest. So what do you think of this team, Dave?
I think this has promise. If we play with Dean and Coleman parked almost in their half, then you could see how the overloads would create problems for Burnley. I think they play such a sort of narrow formation. Haven't seen too much of them in recent weeks, but I did watch them against Liverpool, and they were really excellent defending on that day at Anfield, and really restricted them anything really in terms of crossing the ball in. So I think we need to
everyone behind the ball.
They leave space out wide though. That's what I did notice. So they'll let you put a cross in, but generally they'll head it away. So we've just got to make use of that space, get Dean into those channels and Coleman into the channels, and leave Davies and Allen to mop up what's the space left behind. And then you've got three strikers there who you'd hope would cause problems. They're physical, they have pace, they have a bit of trickery. But it's going to be tight, isn't it? Either way we look at it, because
they'll make it tight. They'll make it tight. And I think we need to try and find a way of disrupting them. And the best way to do that is by getting a lot of strikers on, try and outnumber them, overload the flanks. But they'll know we haven't really got anyone who can score outside the box in that team. And, if they do drop deep, there isn't really the risk of a shot coming in, so it's frustrating to try and find a way to disrupt Burnley and cause a threat.
There's no goals from midfield there. I mean, Gomez can assist. I think he's got 2 assists this season. But that's the it's a
so can you if you played 50 games, 60 games.
Dean, the creativity is going to have to come from Dean basically, because if James and Sigurdsson don't play, that's it. We're just going to have to be all on Dean. And if the crosses don't work, I mean, it is a real worry that we can't break them down. But maybe that's why we have a look at the other team, whether we need to.
Okay. So we've done a plan B. Have a look at this. It's not plan B. 4-4-2, match up with Burnley, flat 4-4-2. I think this might be more along the lines of what we go with, to be honest with you. But I think Mina will come in to the team on second thought. Just Bernard on the left to provide something different. When you haven't got Sigurdsson and James Rodriguez, you've got to find some creativity from somewhere. Well, this flat 2 defensive midfielders and then kind of like 4 forwards in a way, and the width from fullback might leave us a bit vulnerable on the counter-attack though.
Yeah, it's certainly a bit more of an attacking side. It's interesting, Josh King coming in on the right wing, whether he can play that role. I know Ancelotti said today he can play left or right in a 4-4-2, but I'm not sure he would track back. So, yeah, I don't know how isolated that leaves Coleman. And then Bernard given another chance, purely really because he is our most creative player. If you look at the stats, after Sigurdsson and James and Dean, I think it's Bernard, and he's barely played. So
keeping Iwobi nowhere near this, aren't we, as well?
We have kept Iwobi. There was a spell in the season where I was quite happy for Iwobi to play, and I wanted him to, and he was playing quite well. And then it all just slipped off, and he disappeared for a few weeks, and then he come back, and he's been back to his old rubbish. So he's just drifting in and out of form at the moment. But we don't know what his best position is. It's really interesting if you watch the press conference. Somebody asked what's Iwobi's best position, and Ancelotti didn't know.
I don't think he bought him, did he?
No, he didn't. It was Marco Silva, but he doesn't really know what his best position is. I'll be interested to see what Iwobi says is his best position.
I think he'll want to play
Cam. He probably will, but Ancelotti said he'll adapt the system to suit him. So I'd be surprised if he does do that. But yeah, let's see.
Let us know in the comments what do you think Iwobi's best position is. I think the consensus last time we spoke was on the bench, or not even on the bench. Someone else's bench, maybe. Not to sound too negative, really, with him, but he doesn't get anywhere near this because his end delivery is just shocking, and he's not a goal threat. So we are struggling to pick people out wide at the moment. So he attempted maybe to put Richarlison on the wing just to try and get some additional. I don't know, because he's.
I just don't see it. I think we're more likely thinking about the team. I know we've looked a bit shaky playing a 3 at the back at times, but against Liverpool, when we did play the sort of flexible 3 at the back, that worked okay. And I more that I think about it and thinking about how we squeeze Godfrey and Mina and Keane into the team, it's screaming to me that we play them three as a three at the back and give Coleman and Dean the license to go forward. That way, we've got rid of Gomez out the team. We play Allen and Davies as sitting two midfielders. We know we've got 5 secure players there in the centre, and then let Dean and Coleman go forward and support Richarlison, King, and Calvert-Lewin. So yeah, that's making a lot of sense to me. It gets rid of Gomez out the team. He's not really in form, and it's getting Mina back in for the physical presence, but not dropping Godfrey.
That's really good. That's really good. I mean, I think we should have probably done a graphic for 5 at the back then.
Yeah, but you can do
Coleman
and graphics, can't you? You got to make your mind up.
The only way that works though is if those wing backs are playing in the other half. If we do what we've done and it becomes a back 5 and we get Camp back and we've got no out ball and no one out wide, it just doesn't work.
Well, maybe we think about how we defend, and do we defend as a 4? And I don't know, Godfrey or goes to left back and Dean pushes forward, or we're very flexible at the back, aren't we, in the way that we can defend, you know. Coleman can play right mid in terms of defensive shape, so you know we can be very flexible with it. But it's hard to second guess Ancelotti's team, isn't it?
Talk to me about Sigurdsson then. If he's fit, that changes everything. 4-4-2 diamond.
Well, I don't know, because it's very narrow.
I don't know. We got the players to play that now with Decore not available.
Yeah, yeah, because that right centre midfield in the diamond is quite the right and left positions. They've got to cover quite a proportion of the pitch with no winger there to mark the opposition. So yeah, it's difficult without Decore, but I think we will see the 4-4-2 diamond at some point. I'm not sure it will be used tomorrow.
Reckon. Anything else you want to talk about while we're here? To do with the Burnley game in particular?
Well, let's just go into it positive. Let's hope the Everton team that we know can perform turns up and is professional. And even if we win 1-0, you know, I'll be pleased. It's getting the 3 points at this stage in the season, isn't it? We're in the last sort of 10 games now, aren't we? We need to pick up some points if we've got any chance of finishing in the top 4.
Prediction then?
Prediction, I'm going to go 1-0 to Everton.
Ditto. I was going to say 1-0 as well. And I think that was quite positive. And I think there is an inkling, and maybe James Rodriguez is going to be saved anyway for the City game. So I think it would be important to prioritise that for him.
Well,
in terms of him getting kicked.
Doesn't look like he's going to play against City either, to be honest. But yeah, the way I read it, I don't want to be too pessimistic, but I don't see Everton creating buckets loads of clear-cut opportunities, but I think we can take 1 or 2, and I think we can keep right at the back. So I think the worst we will see if Everton turn up is like a 1-1 or a 0-0. So you know, I think we can win the game. So let's go into it. Let's attack them, and let's be professional and get the 3 points.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks for joining me, Basil, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll speak to you tomorrow after the game. If you're
okay. See you later.
Thank you.